Right, we start the hour in Kenya, where security agencies are said to have foiled a planned biological attack using anthrax in the country. A man, his wife and another woman have been arrested. Rewards have been issued for 2 other suspects. Now, in a statement, the police said Mohammed Abdi Ali, a medical intern at a Kenyan hospital, was in charge of a terror network. It reportedly stretches across Kenya, Somalia, Libya and all the way into Syria. Police are now looking for those 2 other suspects named Ahmed Hish and Farah Dagane. Well, let's bring you more details and analysis on this developing story. We're joined from Kampala by CCTV's Michael Baleke, and here in our Nairobi studio, I'm joined by Robert Nagila. Robert, to begin with, anthrax seems to be a rather new strategy in terms of terror attacks in East Africa. At this point, what do we know about these suspects and exactly what they planned to do with this attack?
Well, Lindsay, absolutely, you're correct. It's the first we're hearing of an anthrax attack within the region itself. Now, yesterday, police released a statement saying that on April 29th, which was last week effectively, they arrested a male individual by the name Mohammed Abdi Ali, a medical intern, and they say that he was the leader or part of a terror network that was planning to carry out a biological attack, kind of like the Westgate style here in Kenya. Now, the link here appears to be Kampala International University, where we are now being told that 2 other individuals linked to Mohammed have been arrested as well. But curiously, we're also just learning that about 2 weeks ago, the Minister of Interior, Kenya's Minister of Interior, Joseph Kaiseri, and his counterpart in the Ministry of Health visited the Kenya Medical Research Institute. Now, this is interesting because this is an institution that carries out medical research together with the CDC from the US and other medical agencies. Now, interestingly, part of that research includes biotechnology, research into biotechnology as well. So it does appear that there's a link to this as well, because this visit was 2 weeks ago. We are told that they visited the research center to find out what security measures were in place. Whether they were enhanced or not, we're not sure. It's a place I've visited. It does have security, but not very high level security. But it does appear now that that security has been increased.
Well, we'll come back to that in just a moment. But first, let's explore that Kampala link. Of course, as Robert has mentioned, 2 suspects were arrested in Kampala. The main suspect also said to have been associated with Kampala International University. Michael, just tell us what authorities there are saying about this apparent Ugandan connection.
Well, Lindy, police in Kampala are yet to come out with an official position on the arrests in Kenya. No one is speaking anything. But police says that also that some suspects with this kind of link were arrested last year in September. And actually they are at Uganda's maximum prison and facing charges of terrorism and abetting terrorism. They say these suspects who were arrested last September are actually 10 suspects. 9 of Somali origin and 1 Kenyan national, believed to have links with terror group Al-Shabaab, but we do not have any info of about the biological attack that is happening right now in Kenya. Well, you know, Al-Shabaab has consistently vowed to carry out terror attacks in Uganda in retaliation for their troops in Somalia.
All right. Well, let's come back to you now, Robert, for a minute. As you've mentioned, much of what we know is coming from a statement that's come from Kenyan police. But it seems that some activists are doubting the narrative that's been presented by police officers in Kenya. Tell us more about that.
Well, we have been hearing about this activist. The names of some of the suspects that are now appearing in the media have been doing rounds on social media, with some activists claiming that they had mysteriously disappeared and saying that they were in police hands. However, we did not hear from the police until yesterday, when they released an official statement saying that they were linked to this particular investigation. Now, interestingly, this is a shift away from other attacks or planned attacks that we have been told about recently. This particular group that these individuals are being linked to is the Islamic State, a breakaway group from Al-Shabaab who then pledged their allegiance to the Islamic State. Now, if this is the case, then it appears that we're beginning to see perhaps what appears to be a new round of attacks, change of tact from this particular group. We've not had any attack from them themselves since they pledged allegiance to ISIS, but a very worrying scenario for Kenyan authorities.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, let's bring you in here. Of course, as Robert says, there is this concern that there is a very strong ISIL-linked link to this recent arrest. And of course, there's concerns that there's been recruiting that's been taking place in the region and in particular in Kampala. What do authorities know about this group and their recruitment operations?
Well, Lindy, Uganda Police Chief Kale Kayihura told a news conference yesterday that Kampala takes every security threat seriously. Like I said earlier, because Uganda's involvement in Somalia. And as a result, police anti-terror units and the military are already combing the streets in Kampala for any suspect or suspicious items. And security at the airport has also been stepped up. Deployment of anti-terror units, anti-terror police units, and special forces. But police is not talking about anything to do with ISIL. We have not had that info. People traveling to the airport have to take about an hour because of the rigorous security checks. And information we are getting from authorities does not point to any particular group or threat. They are saying they're not taking anything for granted, meaning Uganda is on high security alert at all times. Of course, police has also banned the weekly demonstrations by opposition politicians. This ahead, of course, of President Museveni's swearing-in ceremony. And but they're not pointing to probably ISIL, they're not pointing to Al-Shabaab. They're saying they're on a security alert, and several forces and security forces have beefed up, especially in the city center.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Michael Beleka live for us there in Kampala. Thanks very much for your contribution. And Robert Nagila live for us here in our Nairobi studio on that foiled attack by Kenyan police.